Hello, good evening, Sanbonani. My name is Dumsani Njobo Mamba. I'm a psychiatric nurse by training. I'm a mental health advocate. I'm a mental health practitioner. I'm a young person. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. And also, I am a fun lover. So, I've been requested and invited to talk to you amazing people today about keeping life balance between work, school, personal life, and how we do that within the confines of a person who is mentally stable, which literally translates to mental wellness, mental well-being. So without really taking into much time and trying to explain the background in all of this, I'll just want to say you people should probably have been having fun. It's a Friday, so Fridays are for having fun, and fun comes with responsibility, fun comes with accountability, fun comes with enjoyment. They say enjoyment, eh? So as a young person, as a member of community, I feel I have an obligation to, in the very least, speak to you amazing people about the genesis of how to keep mentally well, how to keep mentally healthy as a young person. So I'm going to not be scriptural, or should I say prescriptive, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to us in about three things, which is life balance, managing yourself, and taking care of yourself. Those probably looks to be the same thing, but they are generally not the same thing. So when we're talking about life balance, one will just need to understand what is mental health in the first place. And mental health is generally, forget Google for now. Mental health is generally the state of well-being, and when your five different parts as an individual are in a harmonious working relationship. And one would be asking, which are those five parts? As a person, as an individual, you have five different components that makes up you, and that makes you to be you. And one of them, this is just the physical side, and we've got the physical aspect, we've got the emotional aspect, we've got the cognitive aspect, we've got the psychosocial, we've got the spiritual, and all of these, they make up who you are. I said it's physical, emotional, spiritual, cognitive, and psychosocial. So for a mentally well person, these five parts should be in a harmonious working relationship, where we say they are incoherent. You are able to do all things across your five different parts, creating a balance between all of these parts and making sure that the balance you are developing and creating speaks to your ability to execute, to implement, and to do things that are well aligned with your day-to-day living. And I've been told that some of us in here are at school, and actually most of us, if not all of us, because we are in the school of life in the end of the day. So there is schoolwork. Schoolwork touches mostly on your cognition, on your physical, on your emotional, on your spiritual, and your psychosocial. And there's also your personal life, where you exist as an individual, as a person, and that you, who you are, then translates to the ability to have a personality. Like, this is who I am, this is who I identify with, or this is who I identify as, and this is what makes me happy, this is what makes me sad, these are the things that take me through the gutters and back into excitement. So when we're speaking about mental well-being, in the sense that there's the aspect where you were having school life, and then there's the aspect where you have your personal life, and then there's the aspect where you are a member of society. Like, you've got lots of responsibilities, a lot of expectations, lots of things people expect you to be able to do. And one thing I'll be very honest with you is, life in general, people tend to have a tendency of thinking we are Superman. And when I say we, I literally mean us. Because the moment you step out of this room, the moment you get back to wherever you're staying, get back to school, it's like, oh, you're one of those, we're having a weekend out, you're having fun, because people will never stop talking. So the expectations then become very high on you. It's like, oh, you are part of Enactus. You should be having money. You should be having a successful business. You should be passing in school. You should be having your life in check. that does not literally translate to that. Actually, the pressures and the expectations that people have on you puts more pressure on you towards how are you able to cope? How are you able to create a balance? And remember, I did say that we're going to talk about balance. And balance is a very difficult thing because it's not like putting things 5 kg here, 5 kg there, and then it becomes balanced. Remember when I said mental health is when these 5 parts that make you are in a harmonious working relationship. And this kind of harmony is not the type of harmony where we say out of the percentage total of 100, we expect your 5 parts to be at 20, 20, 20, 20. That's not how it works. There are moments whereby you are going to put in an 80 on physical side of things where you feel like you need to get yourself physically okay, and then there are moments where you just feel like emotionally I'm a wreck. Emotionally, I cannot comprehend. Emotionally, I'm just down and out. I don't want anything to do with life. And that's basically when you need to then create a balance. You draw energies from one side to fit the other. You understand? Because with this 100% pie you have of you in completion, then you have the 5 parts you need to divide. When, for instance, you are focusing on school exams, you're going to take probably 40% for studying, which is your cognition. And with that 40% for cognition, you need about 15% to be physically okay and physically awake. And you also need a certain percentage to believe in a certain higher power that if you study, you are going to then pass. Then that's your spirituality. And once you get to that, you need to have study buddies, which is your psychosocial aspect of it. And then it fits in there as well. And then you have what? The other part is emotions. You need to be in a good state of mind emotionally for you to be able to say, I can comprehend, I can study, I can do this, I'll work on this, and then I'll get the results. So at the end of the day, the balance we're talking about is not an easy thing to do. It's not just a wake up and say 100 divided by 5, it's 20. And then I put 20% on physical, 20% on emotional, 20% spiritual, 20% psychosocial. There are moments where there is an area within your 5 parts that have to exist at a 0. For instance, if I'm going through the most locally, then I'll have to find a way of isolating myself from everyone so I can think. That is me investing more on my emotional side, investing more on my cognitive side, investing more on my physical well-being, taking myself out of the space. And that means psychosocially, I'm not relating to anybody. Because the social aspect is when we have relations, where we are relating to people. So we need to withdraw in order for us to go back, come back stronger, and then integrate again. So we're living in a world where things are happening quite fast and quite quick. And expectations are always rife. People think you have miracles. People think you are a supernova. People think you are Super Mario. And it's not always like that. And I want to believe most of us are in tertiary education, even if you're not in tertiary or maybe primary or secondary school. Like I said, we are all in the school of life. So in the kind of school we are in, and we have observed that unfortunately we have lost so many souls. And in the literal sense that we have lost so many people through suicide, people have committed suicide, and we cannot then turn a blind eye and say they were weak, or and say they could not deal with their issues. There is a fraction of truth in them not being able to deal with issues. But the question is, how do we make it better? How do we avoid us currently still able to confront our issues, not to get to the zone where we are not able to deal with our issues? It's $1 million question. Neither Dumsani here can give an answer to that, or anybody out there can give an answer to that. But the most interesting thing is, together as a collective and as a person, starting with you doing your self-care, you can do a lot to try and eliminate and reduces the risk and chances of you even thinking about it. Truth is, it is very difficult. And the most amazing thing is, most of the time when we speak about our issues to the right people, by the way, we usually get breakthroughs, we usually get feedback that is constructive, and sometimes we get criticized, and sometimes we get very degrading and humiliating feedback, which then takes you back into the gutters, down into the dungeons, and you feel like, why did I even try to speak to this person? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not every day you are going to hear classical music that's going to be nice to you. In this life, in this school of life, there are moments where someone will say something passively and it hurts you deeper than someone cutting your hand. This is where we say we need to create the balance. The moment someone says something that is hurting you emotionally and you do realize, I'm in this particular space with this very same person, what do? You do the easiest thing. You withdraw from the space so that you can regroup, you recollect your emotions. Cognitively, you now start thinking soundly without the emotional imbalances. And that leads you towards the certain area in spirituality where now you say, I believe in a certain higher power that is going to assist me become a better person, or find a solution to my problem, or probably give me a miracle or a magic or whatever that will alleviate the suffering and get me to a better place while you are still alive. Get that, eh? Because getting to a better place may be even on the afterlife, and this is not the what I'm talking about now. I'm saying you need to get to a better place while still alive. And this is actually one of the most difficult things one would ever tell you to try and do, because we need to find coping mechanisms. We are creatures of emotions, we are creatures of faith, we are creatures of intellect, we are creatures of physical presence, and we are creatures of the environment. We are because we are Ubuntu, we have people around us, and it is basically for that mere fact that I find myself talking to you today, because one has to say something to help the other person, and one has to believe someone out there cares. And I do want to believe that you do know that someone out there cares, and if there is nobody who cares, well, you've got someone who cares. That's me. I do care, and I am sure even your coordinators, the people who put you together in this room, they do care. And we might not necessarily be always available emotionally, physically, cognitively, spiritually, but just know someone cares. And with that being said, there are a lot of things. We need to develop coping mechanisms. Peer pressure is there, it's real, and it's destroying most of us. We are having people who are going through the most because of peer pressure, because you want to be like who? You want to be like someone, or someone thinks you better than them, and now you feel like you need to drop down the bars to be at the same level they are in. In some instances, you do not need to move from where you are in order to fit in a space. How many a times has the ocean moved to meet people outside in the mountains? It does not. The ocean knows its place, it's just by there where the water is. And the mountain knows its place as well. So these two are really not bothered about whether they meet or not. If by chance they happen to meet, it's a happy moment. Which is why you'll probably pay money to go and see where the mountains meet the ocean. But if they do not meet, life goes on. The ocean is not bothered about what the mountain is thinking. And neither the mountain is bothered about where the water comes from. You understand? You are a person of your own. You own your own space, and you are who you are because you are that much valuable to this life to have you present in it at this moment. I do not want to sound like I'm preaching, and I do not want to sound like I'm actually talking very serious things, but I just want to talk to you in a friendly manner, in such a way that you do not feel like, am I losing my mind? Am I going through the most? Well, if in any case you are going through the most, there's one line I'll tell you now. If you are going through hell, keep going, because you do not want to stand and burn more. Keep going. If you are going through the most difficult times, just keep going. If you feel like you are tired, scream for help. Someone is going to come and drag you out of it. But taking your own personal life in the sense that you feel like now nothing is there for me, I'm no longer worthy, I do not belong. You do belong. If not to every one of us, you belong to yourself. And you owe yourself that much love and care, that in whatever I'm going through, just know valuable things begin with I. And that I is you. And we put all of the I's together, it becomes a we. And we are us, and us is we. Us is I. You understand? So, for as long as you have people around you, just know someone cares, and someone is there for you, someone is willing, someone is happy to assist you. There is no way you are going to be on your own. The same way it's happy times we are together, the same way we are going to be together in sad times. Just bear one thing in mind. Remember, try and keep the work-school life balance. You get that balance in check, I am China, you are good to go. Like, you are literally good to go. You will be probably the best version of yourself, because you will then understand that some things happen, some things don't happen. And those that don't happen, they do not necessarily mean you are missing out. And those that happen, they do not necessarily mean you are the best in the game. In order for you to be the best, you need to thrive for another day. Today is a lesson for you to do better tomorrow. And tomorrow has its own lessons for you to do better the following day. That's basically how we keep on moving. If the legs, as you move them, will just say, no, push one only, you'll probably trip and fall, which is why we need to keep them moving together. You understand? So in all of the things that I've spoken about, there's one basic thing I'll just say. You are worthy, you are valuable, you are important, someone cares about you. But before all of these things can make sense, you need to know you care for yourself, you are worthy yourself, you believe in yourself, you love yourself, and beyond loving yourself, love your life. No matter how messed up it might be. You know, there are moments whereby you feel like, I know this life is not living. And you feel like, I know I need to give up. Or probably, I know this is just the end. Like, this is like the dead end. Like, no, I'm cut. Instead of cutting the life, cut where the problem comes from. Like, track it back and find where the problem is, and then boom, you'll be good. Let's cut the problems. Let's cut the causalities. Let's cut all the things that really cause us the problems. You know, the most fascinating thing I'll share with you is, as young people, I've discovered that most of our problems sometimes are self-induced. There are things we do unconsciously, and we never realize that what we have done in 2 weeks' time, it's going to be our problem. It's like packing a bottle of milk and hiding it away, thinking you're going to come back and find milk. Utokanze mass. And if you don't eat a mass, then you're having problems. And if you love that, you're going to feel like, I have invested, I'm getting my returns. It's that simple. There are things that we expose ourselves to, and when they start becoming problems, we feel like the universe is against us. Well, let me give you a quick reality check. This universe has a lot of people, and all of them believe the universe is working for them. So at some point, this universe is not going to give us what we want. But this very same universe is going to give us the people to assist us to become better people and give us what we want. No man is an island. And if you think because it's a Friday, it's going to be a Long Island, think again. If you didn't get that one, sorry, you'll get it some other time. But thank you so much for listening to me. I do hope and believe from this small pep talk I've just given you, you are going to take the most out of it, find valuable lessons from this, try and create a work-school life balance, and try not to have multiple personalities as you're doing so, because it comes back and haunts you. Do not be the friendly person at school, be the angry person at church, be the bubbly person in your own personal space. Maintain it. Just be one person who has different relations with people, but you remain the constant. Everything else around you will change, but you remain one constant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. If I had missed introducing myself, I am Dumsani Njobo Mamba. I'm a psychiatric nurse by training. I'm a mental health advocate, mental health practitioner, advocate for mental health, well-being and wellness, and an enthusiast for youth and young people. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, a lovely Friday, and enjoy your time. This life, na enjoyment. Bye-bye. Thank you.